Hello and welcome back to the TUNJI Talks podcast. Today, I am here with TREY. TREY, how are you this evening?
Yeah, I'm good, it's been a long time, but yeah, I'm all good. Quite optimistic about hopefully overcoming this pandemic eventually. But right now it's here to stay. But you know how it goes. Like we're not back in another lockdown. Still got some bit of freedom compared to 2020. So I'm
Yeah,
looking forward to 2022 really at this point.
yeah,
How
for sure.
about you? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. Just yeah, optimistic, like you say. It's been fun. Christmas has just happened, so been with family, so that's been good. It's been really good.
Little breakaway, really.
Yeah, a little break, a little kind of like reset, being good food.
Oh, you can't stop. It's auntie's cooking. I miss auntie's cooking still.
Oh, oh man. All right. So let's get into it. So we've kind of just touched on 2020 briefly, but let's so during 2020, during the lockdowns, what was the kind of main activity or activities that got you through lockdown that kept you busy?
Ooh. I'm not gonna lie. The probably now I think about it, it was definitely FIFA clubs with like the lads.
Mm.
I gotta admit that was an intense journey. It wasn't even just like no one's going out. You go work, come back, but then as soon as 6 o'clock hit, we're online. The full squad of like 10 of us, one player short, one centre back missing, but otherwise we had a full squad. And yeah, you just made the journey of it, get to Division 1 and stuff like that. Also a bit of GTA on the side with another batch of friends.
Okay.
You got the squeeze out in there. I can't remember what game I was. Oh, and Naruto Shinobi Strikers at that point as well.
Okay. All right. Cool. So the
There was a lot
routine.
of gaming. And then when lockdown, I guess because I'm a basketball coach, so
Yeah.
as much as I could be there,
Mhm.
um, we started slowly doing individual training sessions. Once the lockdown was easing a bit, they kind of opened the courts and things again. Do a group. We got too many kids to do one group at a time, so we just did separate groups and just built up from there.
Yeah.
Whoever can make it can make it. Whoever felt comfortable. But at the end of
Mhm.
the day, we did all the precautions, make sure everyone's socially distanced as much as possible. It's in an outdoor airspace, so again, it was just pure air, no enclosed like worries or anything. As our general home where we trained was closed due to COVID, and it actually became a COVID testing center at one point.
Oh, cool. Where your home base?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's the down below the Taylor Center in Peckham. That's where that's where we generally play.
Mhm. Cool. And how was it coming back with the boys come is it so do you train boys and girls or just boys?
Uh at this moment, it's all boys between under 14s to under 18s, and there was at the time under 12 session as well, which thankfully the under 12 team just started now.
Mhm.
They had their first game recently, so that was all good. Yeah, they got a good bunch of boys really. The all I think at the time, everyone's put a bit of weight on, so everyone's kind of doing this journey together to get a bit fitter again and everything. So it was really good just to get that chemistry back with the boys and everything.
Mm. I think that's just interesting what you said, like everyone getting fitter. So there was a lot of like sitting around during like the main lockdown. So I guess everyone getting back into shape, and also that social aspect of sport as well, like being cooped up inside, but then you're around your friends again. So that must have been nice to
Well,
provide space.
exactly. It was just like, look, love my mom, but sometimes you just gotta have space for your own parents. Like you gotta be able to go out. The whole point of coming home from work is to be able to relax at home
Mhm.
rather than your workplace being your room and then you now kind of have to go for a walk to do the reverse
Mm.
just to make yourself feel a bit better
Yeah.
and about being at home all the time. So I gotta admit, 2020 was definitely a trying time for me as much as I like being at home sometimes I just like being out. If
Yeah.
anything, more of the time I'm outside than I am at home. But
Mhm.
I think that's even worse now after the whole lockdown thing. So maybe I need to start implementing staying at home more.
So you were recently in a big pot noodle advert.
Oh yeah.
Right. Um, and if anyone's interested, actually, I'll play a clip. I'll put a clip here so people can see it.
Come on!
Yo!
Oh, look who it is! Come on! Oh! Ah! Come on! What the hell is that?
You're a sore loser.
I ain't a sore loser, I'm a bad boy driver. I'm trying to carry this team by my damn self.
Are you winning?
Ah! Half time!
And how was that experience of being in pot noodle advert and playing like car football?
You know, that was a whole experience in itself. A lot of preparation was made in towards. We all recorded majority of it in one day. We did like a couple tasks we had to do outside, but never really came to fruition. Obviously, they use what they need to use. Shout out to Lab Bible for the opportunity. That's how we got it in the first place. My friend found this opportunity one day and invited me along with 4 of our friends. And we did an audition with Lad Bible on Zoom, just like we're doing now, pretty much. We eventually got casted. Then we had to do some prep work at home, like do a recording of us just recording games. It was basically like the setting of lockdowns. So the whole point of it was like getting gamers back out, or people that generally stay in to get back out and have fun and just try something new. So that was the aim of the whole message for them. If I remember correctly, we went near the end of June and we did a whole day recording. We didn't even know about the car football until we literally arrived in the minibus. They literally were making, even before the minibus, like even before we got to the place, we started recording before we knew what we were doing. Because the first scene, as you see in the first scene, well, you'll see in the clip, we're just meeting up. We just did that off the bat without no, we still don't know what the event was. So it was really good to keep the realism there of the fact that we didn't know what we were doing. And at that point in the advert, no one knew what they're doing anyway.
Yeah.
So it was really good of them to keep it hiding. It was really nice to prize on the day. They catered for us. They got us our travel. It was all really nice out there. Getting in one of those cars, on the other hand, now that was a different story. Sadly, I am a tall and big guy at the same time. Not sadly, both. It has its up and downs. It was a whole event, really. It was just good that I was really attentive to like trying to fit the adjustments for each of us, as we all have different requirements of what we need to do it properly. I guess mine is more due to my height and my weight, so it just didn't really help out. But once you got in the cars, it was actually quite fast. Considering I thought they said they limited it, but it was still fast enough to, you know, realistically look like you're speeding along trying to hit the ball and everything. That was a good experience though. I would recommend like keeping an eye out for opportunities like that. Just it also gives like you and your friends a chance to just try something new. I would definitely recommend it again.
So for the audition process, what did they get you to do? So you and your friends were like in a Zoom kind of like this, and did they just get you to chat, or did they give you like a scenario?
You know what? They literally just got us to chat and just be ourselves. I gotta admit, not everyone in the group know each other at that point, but we had to act it out. So
yeah,
I say we did a good job enough to convince them that we all knew each other like connectively without having just one person as a centerfold. Yeah, that's literally what it was. Couple of his former roommates, couple of this and that. Like it was really like my friend extension, and they met through me. So it was kind of like there's chemistry. You had enough people together to have the chemistry show regardless. So it was good.
I mean, like watching the advert, like I thought, oh yeah, you guys must have known each other for like years.
That's the funny part. Out of everyone in that group, I only know properly the lady Shamani herself and the main guy, Dreads himself, Daniel, he's the main guy that got us together. Like those are the main two that I know personally long enough. If you get what I mean? Like I met Shwani in college. Daniel was funny because I met him in the Dread shop, and it was literally anime that brought us together. He saw my phone had my screensaver was Kaneki from Tokyo Ghoul. So actually, it was Tokyo Ghoul RE at this point. It was the One-Eyed King. So he saw that. It was obviously in manga form because it wasn't anime at the time when I first met him. So he saw that. We got into chat, and from then we've been friends ever since. And everyone else is from his side, but I knew 2 out of 3 of them before the whole organized part. There was only one person I was new to.
You said the cars were going like quite fast. How fast were you able to go, even with the limiters on the cars?
Okay, we have to be realistic about this. Not all of us had a license, so they had to limit it quite a bit. Nor was there a disclaimer saying we all had to have a license. So it was kind of like they limited it to a safe point where you don't need the license to cover that. So I'd say it was at most around just pushing to 30, but even then,
that seems pretty
that's still fast.
Yeah.
That's still fast. Like I know, like we live in roads that say 20 and 30, but at the end of the day, if you get hit at 30, you're still getting hurt. So, I mean, the best part was not trying to knock into each other and not damage the property. But the ball, I got to admit, the ball they brought these like like blow up balls, like this. So they didn't do too well with the cars. They kept deflating.
Oh wow! Okay.
So we didn't. As much as we got a whole experience out of the day, that all just was wow. It's like but shout out to all the team, whether it's the Pot Noodle team, the Lads Bible team, they put a lot of work in to get that day sorted. And shout out to my group also. We got through it at the end of the day, and we all had a great time. We all had a good talks. We got some new links. We like exchanged instas and stuff with people there for potentially any future opportunities or even just good networking.
Yeah, I was just about saying like great networking opportunity.
Yeah, literally, like there's some young directors and all that. Like hopefully they get they keep going up on what they do because they did a good job in organizing everything with the limitations that were there.
And how long were you guys playing car football for? Do you know, or was it a blur?
How long we were doing it?
Like an hour.
Funny enough, my car broke down. So we had a test run and it was all fine, but the motor key in my car that keeps the engine running, it snapped at some point, maybe from impact or driving over a hump or something. So in my case of driving, I was probably like an hour and a bit. But with the others, it was kind of like pushing towards 2 hours because they got to do more shots and everything. Once my car was done, but they were able to keep going. So it was all good. It was really good that they improvised at that point because certain things like that, you're not going to expect that to happen. It literally happened by the chance. So they did really good to improvise on that. Love the penalty shootout feature of it as well. No, it was just a blast. I definitely would do it again.
Oh, that's cool. Like an hour and a bit seems like a decent amount of time to be playing like car football. And this, did it hurt when you got hit?
Oh, do I remember it too well? To be honest, we were so cautious about hitting each other, and we were so cautious about the ball.
Yeah.
Only took a couple knocks, but it wasn't too bad. We were really secure. The seatbelts kept us down. And we had a camera recording us each time, so even if there was a problem, we'd be able to flag it, or we'd be able to just wave and just be like, yeah, but that's hard to do when the car breaks down. It's like get a kickstart. It was fun. Like it was generally I'm lost for words at how much went on that day, because when you look back on it, it was actually a lot.
So let's talk about anime, because you mentioned anime earlier. We're both anime fans. So
come on.
what anime are you watching at the minute?
This is the worst time for this kind of question to come up because everything is ending at this point in terms of so obviously most animes at the moment that I tend to watch tend to be season based, so
Yeah.
12 episodes. So a lot of them are just ending right now.
Mhm.
Seem to be getting to a bit of isekai at the moment, but I guess obviously Demon Slayer has to be one at the moment because that's currently rolling. It's really what party on now? Can always never remember his name. I just know he's the next Hashira after Rengoku, but he his story is interesting. I mean, how did you even get 3 wives in that in the first place? Um, then what's it? One Piece ongoing forever. Like
Right. Yeah.
that's a journey.
Yeah.
That's a life journey. Whether you're reading the manga, I'm a more of a manga reader myself, but
Mhm.
whether you're reading the manga or watching the anime, that's a life journey. So you know you're in for a roller coaster with that one, considering it's been around longer than I'd say most people in their 20s at this point.
Yeah.
24 years is a long time to be making one story.
One shot. Yeah.
And then I was watching a couple isekais like The World's Finest Assassin that ended last week. I also watched Through Evolution, another isekai guy starts off as a bum, ends up in the world and stumbles upon this fruit that helps level him up. So he starts as like the weakest of the weak in his class and left on his own, but he ends up being the strongest, and it's actually quite interesting. The only thing I'd probably be like, what the hell's going on here is he fell in love with a gorilla.
Wow.
Yeah, don't worry, the gorilla's actually a human girl. Just the world they're in, she turns into a gorilla.
So Demon Slayer, is that show good? Because like I've heard a lot of hype about it, and I watched like 8 episodes of it, and like literally I was not a fan. Like I was trying, and like
But
I just couldn't get into it. Am I missing out on something? Should I give it another go? Should I give it another crack?
I say I understand why you struggled with it. I think if it wasn't for the fact I read the manga before watching the anime, I'd have nothing to look forward to because I understand it's quite a slow anime.
Yeah.
That can lose people's attention quite quickly, especially in the first episodes. I mean, shonens typically take a while to build up unless it's these new world ones where they just go straight in. So there's a new expectation out there. Because, for example, my favorite anime is Hitman Reborn, and you're sitting there for a good 50, 60 episodes of slice of life stuff before actually getting into the real nitty gritty. And even One Piece, for example, though we're getting quite a bit of information, the true nitty gritty kind of starts after, I don't know, it starts after the Fisherman arc, not Fisherman Island, but Fisherman arc, Arlong's crew, the one where they recruit Nami.
Isn't that like 50? That's again like 50.
Yeah, it's a good 50,
Yeah.
60 episodes in before it actually starts to kick off a bit again. Obviously, One Piece goes for the whole recruiting beginning, and then you start getting the real enemies. Like I remember, I think it's Alabasta, isn't it? The first one that it gets to. Yeah, so
that was crocodiles in that one.
Yeah, and even then they're still recruiting, but it's not the main recruit now. It's like whoever's added on extra. We get to see I hate forgetting Robin's what's it called, Brockworks name, because she was my favorite Brockworks member. Not Miss Sunday. I think it is Miss Sunday. It's either Miss Sunday or Miss Monday. I don't think it's Miss Valentine though.
Probably Sunday, Miss Sunday.
I think it's Miss
That
Sunday.
seems to ring a bell.
Yeah. Overall, like the One Piece story, I recommend that one to anyone.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But Demon Slayer, back to your original question, and so I kind of went off track there.
That's all right. That's all good.
I would say give it a try.
Okay.
Give it a try. Get to the end of the first season, and don't watch the movie. Just watch the anime through because the anime redoes the movie anyway. So just follow the movie. I mean, just follow the anime. But right now we're mid-season 2, so it's time to catch up.
Okay. What's like really interesting about Demon Slayer is when the movie came out, I was actually working at Everyman at the time.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, and what I know, the audience for that was like really young. Like okay, so when I say young, I mean like they'll mostly like sixth formers in there. Like that was like packed out full of like sixth former kind of like age people. So that's like 16, 17, that kind of age. So I thought that was quite interesting.
That makes sense because imagine it like this from our point of view. We grew up on we're gonna call it the big three: Bleach, Naruto, and One Piece, and how they queue up for that. And obviously we have Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Z at that point as well,
Yeah.
because everyone watched that as a kid.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we were, I'd say, at our peak time when it came to Bleach and One Piece and Naruto. We were all between 15 to 18 by the time Shippuden almost ended. So, well, almost like 20 in the early 20s. So seeing sixth formers have this to grasp on, it's kind of like, Naruto, Bleach, One Piece back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of makes sense. That's the general audience you got to turn up.
Yeah.
While, for example, if a Dragon Ball movie comes out, because there's one due to come out soon, if I'm correct, one based on Gohan and the Red Ribbon Army, you'll see more our age group turn up to that, as well as the sixth formers and the youngers as well, and even some olders than us. Like I was so like relieved to see someone like Giggs at a showing at Everyman Cinema watching Resurrection of Frieza's super movie, and he was dressed up as Piccolo. Now, if this guy who was originally a gang member, one of the top rappers in London, and all of that, is able to show his geeky, nerdy side by going to a movie like that, then it should be open to anyone. Like, there's no the tropes that we have of anime being nerdy and geeky and all that stuff is visibly gone now, because now everyone watches it and everyone thinks it's cool. They realize it's not just a cartoon, it's an actual. Obviously, you still got some people are like, oh, why are you watching that Japanese cartoon for? Listen, it's not a Japanese cartoon. If you sit here and compare this to, I don't know, not Looney Tunes, that thing's a bit wild myself. Maybe like, I don't know, think of a cartoon with me. I don't know, Fed Your Parents, for example.
Okay, yeah.
If you compare Fed Your Parents to an anime,
it doesn't compare.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't compare. Like,
it doesn't compare at all.
Yeah, anime is just on
especially exactly. And as soon as you get into like Seinen stuff are just dark, like, or you can't have like decapitation or anything like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
body swapping like JoJo's, but.
That's so true. Let's move on to pro wrestling, because like the pro wrestling world is literally on fire at the minute. Like, it is just ridiculous in the good way, I should say.
Yeah, it's just so many options and so much talent out there now. It's unreal. It's actually unreal what we have. Obviously, we grew up in the ruthless aggression and attitude eras, and that was lovely to watch. Like, great stuff. Obviously, they had to make the most of this new era, so you got different audiences now.
Yeah.
For example, WWE is like PG era, but if you go AEW, you can get something a bit older and more mature, or any other place except WWE is old and mature.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you think on it?
Oh, like I've literally given up on WWE now. Like, before it was like I'll watch like NXT, then now it's gone to like NXT 2.0. I initially started watching kind of like the highlights, but now I don't even bother. Like, for me, like the best thing on WWE right now is Roman Reigns, but
that's dying.
Yeah. So I can't do WWE anymore. For me, I'm all in on AEW. Like that's me right there. AEW. Like, the content in AEW is so good. The story is so good. They give wrestlers a chance, and like they follow through. They don't set something up, they never return to it, kind of thing. AEW has so far. AEW has delivered in a big way.
Do you know AEW has done so well to get to this point that though WWE claim that they're in their rear view mirror and they don't care about them, they really do. Like. They're like, oh, all our talents are going to go. So we give them 90-day non-complete clauses and things like that. And even, like, for example, Malachi Black, who found a loophole because he was in that accidental period where they didn't put that in there. Look how quickly he just turned up. 1 week he's doing a story with Big E and he's lost his eye and everything. And he's about to do this whole evil shtick, which I was really looking forward to. But that obviously changed Big E's direction as well, and now he's the champion. So that was kind of, I guess, necessary in a way. But in AEW, he's just free to do what he wants, and I gotta admit, it's probably one of the best finishes yet to get to see. Like black masses,
Yeah. Cold.
Like it just looks so real. You literally just receiving a spinning roundhouse to the head. I still watch WWE.
Okay.
I'm really trying to not give up on it entirely because there are some aspects I do like. I think if I was to say which one I prefer right now, it's not even AEW or WWE. I'm more invested in Impact Wrestling right now.
Okay.
They're making a comeback now. Musa's champion. As much as he's not as strong of a talker as he can be, he's working on it, and he dropped some good promos recently. To be fair, he even took a shot at all the champions of every promotion in one promo. I was just like, good on you, Moose, man. Get yourself out there. Get like Impact's getting money now. Carter era is over, and the Carter era was what was causing the downfall. And then the dispute with Jeff Jarrett and all that stuff. Like, it's just good they got a solid owner now. I can't remember his name. I think he's also part of NWA, this guy. That rock star guy. I can't remember his name.
Oh, Billy Corgan?
Yeah, that's it.
No, wait, no. Didn't he leave Impact? I'm sure he left Impact.
Has he left Impact again? So who's the owner now?
No,
whoever it is fixing it up.
There's this company called Anthem Sport. They own Impact. Because Billy Corgan owns and controls. Yeah.
NWA.
Yeah.
Okay, so he has gone to NWA now. But that's good because separate TNA and NWA, that's good. We got two promotions that don't need to be touched. They really tried their experiment once back in 2002. And that just became the Jeff Jarrett show. We did not want to see that. That guy was nasty. Like, everyone complained about Triple H being narcissistical in the company and bury everybody. No, the true burying at that time was Jeff Jarrett. The amount of wrestlers that took a back seat for him.
Let's talk about, because you mentioned Triple H, Cody Rhodes. I've seen his, the way people are reacting to him at the minute on AEW. So like, so I think his downfall was when when he had a match with Malachi Black initially. So Malachi won the first one. So Malachi won the first match. Then Cody took some time off to film a TV show. Then he came back. Then it looked like Malachi was going to win. Then Cody Rhodes won. Then everyone from then, for me, that's when everyone turned on Cody. And now,
100%.
Yeah. And now what's going on? He's doing things. He's doing the most to try and get people to like him. Like, for instance, a couple of weeks ago when he went through the burning table, and I was like, whoa, Cody. I thought he turned it around then. I'm not gonna lie. After I watched it, I was like, oh, maybe he's won people's hearts again. But nah, people aren't.
No. And that's, like you said, good thing you brought, obviously I brought Triple H, and good thing you did the links there. So as I was explaining with the Triple H's and the Jeff Jarrett's, those past guys that caused that in the first place, now everyone has the expectation that if you're in a higher authoritative position, you should be able to put others over. But if Cody's putting himself up, people forget Cody's still young. Cody's still like, he's in his mid-30s. Like, he's still young in terms of a wrestling guy. Like, he achieved a lot from a young age, maybe because that's part of his father's name, but he's earned his way in it. I don't dislike Cody. I like Cody regardless. I think he just needs to turn heel. Ride off the heat. Ride off the heat. Stop trying to go against the heat, just ride off it, because that's the issue that Roman Reigns had for the longest time. He didn't ride off the heel heat that he was getting, or the John Cena. I mean, obviously John Cena's Superman, but he could have had so many times to turn heel with the way people were just turning on him. Like, I think the closest time I thought John Cena was about to become a heel was the time Kane and him were doing the Embrace the Hate arc with Zack Ryder. If you remember that one, Zack Ryder was the US champion at the time. John Cena took his girl and caused it all. Kane was just like, embrace the hate and everything. And this was Kane's return with the metal mask, if I remember correctly. So Cody needs to quickly turn into a heel, because that, in my opinion, AEW's roster is overinflated in the main sense, in the main event scene. There's so much talent they got. How do you keep some of the most talented guys in the mid card and keep them happy for a long time? That I guess the creative freedom is the bit that saves it. But if we was to go through the list of everyone that could be labeled as a main event player, we got at least probably around pushing 20 alone. I know they got a second show out now, but you're not gonna be able to utilize all these guys at the same time.
And the list is growing. Like every time WWE release like someone, there's always the speculation, is this person going to AEW? Is there.
Yeah, like I'm glad Bray, not Bray, let's call him by his real name, Wyndham.
Yeah.
Wyndham Rotunda. I'm glad he took a time away from wrestling in general and gives himself time to recover, heal himself, gone through a loss of a great friend in John Huber. Well, in terms of him and we've seen Strowman do a bit of what's it called?
Ring of Honor.
Adam Scher, he did a bit of, I think it was Ring of Honor, wasn't it, recently?
So
it's good that he turned up on that to keep his face out there. He hasn't fully signed with a company yet, which is good. It's good on AEW to not sign every single WWE guy.
Yeah.
Because then you're just going to become, well, these people didn't make it in WWE, which is meant to be the number one, the upper kingdom in terms of wrestling promotions, and you just taking their leftovers and now they're main event players. It's going to be hard to convince people of that. So if they took too many, it's going to be really hard. Like obviously Jericho is a good start because he should have always, he's a main event player in WWE anyway. That's why he's got so many titles on his name. You had Cody Rhodes, who was a mid-carder, but you're pushing him as a main eventer. That's cool. It's early days. You bring in, Kenny Omega was always a main event player. Ever since New Japan, he's been from when he broke off on his own into the Bullet Club and took over after AJ, he was really just that main event guy. In the junior heavyweight division, it wasn't going to be too long he was staying there. But now you got all these other people there, and literally, I swear, only the other week, Kyle O'Reilly just turned up.
Yeah.
That's another one, and that creates a good storyline. In all fairness, signing Kyle O'Reilly, because now you got the Undisputed Era
back together
versus the Elite. And it's like, okay, so Adam Cole was orchestrating this great storytelling, you know what I mean? Like Bobby Fish was there, and then suddenly Kyle O'Reilly's contract's up, he's there. If there's one person I'm waiting on to see what decision he makes, right now he's focusing on his kid and his wife, so that's good on him. Yeah, I love Johnny Wrestling. Like him and Tommaso Ciampa were my guys, DIY. I was just damn, the peak NXT times, like those were good times, not this 2.0 nonsense, but I agree. Rebranding NXT, that was a power move by Vince McMahon while Triple H was off sick. 100%. I don't think Triple H had any created in that. Repping black and gold. I think COVID didn't help either with that because the Survivor Series before COVID, NXT won. NXT won the Survivor Series. And it's like you're now seeing that this development territory is now a third roster. But Vince is like, no, I want this to stay as our development. And he's just completely rehashed it down to this. But who's actually been like out of the later crop of NXT stars and who's actually been used properly on the main roster? You haven't been using NXT talent properly since like The Shield and other guys like Daniel Bryan.
Bianca Belair.
Okay, thanks for reminding me about her. She's the supreme athlete. I love her.
Yeah. Did you watch? Was it Mania this year where her and Sasha Banks headlined night one of WrestleMania?
Yeah.
That match was so good. Then when she started crying at the beginning, you could feel the
because this is her chance. She didn't. Thing is, bless her, she was one of the talents in NXT that didn't get their shot. Like they got their shot, but they never actually had a chance to hold the title. I mean, in all fairness, Io Shirai is not exactly something you're going to take away from the title easily. So I understand that. But she had to face Charlotte as well. I was like, well, Charlotte gets the kick for everything, so there's no point in even trying to compete with Charlotte, I guess. But Bianca Belair is probably one of the best recent used ones. But if you look at the whole talent pool, it's more the older side of NXT that got up and did something with their career than the latter side. I mean, Undisputed Era was amazing. And they still kept Roderick Strong somehow. That's going to be an interesting match. They're doing a I don't understand. See, this is why I don't understand WWE. They're making this whole unification. I'm like, why are you unifying the Cruiserweight title, which was meant to belong to 205 Live, and the North American Championship? Why are you trying to merge those two titles together? Just send the Cruiserweight title back where it belongs. Like, just leave it there. But they're doing this unification match. Should be a good match. Roderick Strong versus Carmelo Hayes. Hoping my boy Hayes goes through.
What was I going to say? I remember the inaugural match. I think it was a couple of NXT takeovers ago. The ladder match where like EC3 was in it, and I think Lars Sullivan and Velveteen Dream, and I think Adam Cole was in that match. It was crazy.
Adam won, didn't he? Adam won that match, didn't he?
Yeah.
That was on his long reign.
That match was so good. That was the best. Those are the days at NXT.
Yeah, like the Samoa Joe versus Shinsuke Nakamura series was great. Adam Cole versus pretty much everyone was great. I can't think of a bad feud with Adam Cole in NXT. He just made everyone look good, and he was just a smarky heel for most of it. So that actually worked really well. We had Finn Balor's series. Oh God, NXT goes quite far back to the point of the days where it's just that competition format, and even in that pool of like the first original season, Bryan Danielson was in that, and that's a highlight. And you got Wade Barrett as well, still there now doing commentary now. But I would love he chose acting, so that's fine. That in the day, if it wasn't for the fact that he was so injury prone and his finisher was shit. Oh, sorry about that. Wasteland is the worst. but beyond, like, the Bullhammer elbow was a good retune of a good finisher. So if it wasn't for the injuries, then he would have been the main guy. Oh, sorry, also forgot John Cena. He was not putting that guy over it. You'll join his faction, but you won't put him over.
No,
and John Cena led to get a title after that as well, so that was even worse.
You know Finn Balor.
Yep.
I find his moveset quite boring, but I really loved him when he took some time off, came back to NXT, and was a heel. For me, that was the best version of WWE Finn Balor. Like just like the intensity he brought to his performance and matches.
I think it's sad because obviously WWE has limit moves that are banned, and I think quite a bit of his moveset from NJPW he's not allowed to use in WWE. So he's had to, obviously it's the same trope, which is probably why they don't push him as much. But you know you're gonna get a shotgun drop kick, you know you're gonna get a coup de grace, you know you're gonna get a sling blade, you know you're gonna get a 1916. Like you said, his move is set. I mean, all wrestlers' movesets are quite repetitive, but his one seems to be quite repetitive in the sense of you're already a little guy, you need to stand out somehow. And you were amazing in NJPW. I mean, you're the original leader of Bullet Club. Like, you set that whole stable up from the ground up. But like you said, his moveset can be seen as quite boring. And especially when half his moveset is done by other wrestlers, it doesn't exactly help. I mean, that or the sling blade between Seth Rollins and him. I mean, I prefer his sling blade, but Rollins is the one that gets the most shine, so more people are going to relate the sling blade to him. So Finn Balor, I do agree. I think the wrestling ability is there, the promo ability is there, but the fact that his creativity is probably limited by WWE's background, that probably doesn't help. So I think obviously he signed with WWE again and he's now Raw in a weird storyline with Austin Theory, but otherwise I think they just dropped the ball with him after the Universal title injury. And since then, he never fully recovered, because they really did try to push him because he was hot at the time, but because of the injury, they cooled down. So it was interesting with Balor, I gotta admit.
That was a really
Uh,
good match as well. Did you ever see that clip where like I think his shoulder came out and he tore something and he popped it back in and carried on for the match?
yeah,
That
he
was
took
cool.
the buckle bomb on the barrier, and that separated his shoulder, and he pushed it back in and finished the match. Still, even using that damaged arm, he was still able to finish the match. Adrenaline is a sweet thing, I gotta admit. Adrenaline is a sweet thing because if that was me in that situation, I'm not. I'll keep going, but I'm not using the arm.
Mm.
I'm not gonna do the whole Sin Cara breaking his finger and calling the match as an
The
X.
X,
That was
the
he called the X. He was like, "No, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. Nope." He's like, "I'm done." I'm like, "No, I'm not gonna do that." I mean, even though it's more reason to, it's a shoulder and the whole arm, effectively. But like that's a top professional right there. That's probably why they still respect him as much as they do.
Mm.
And they haven't let him go in this whole cut in prices period because I'm pretty sure Finn probably has a decent wage at this point. He's been there for a good almost a decade at this point.
Oh, one last question. Do you think WWE are going to sell to like a company like Disney or Warner Brothers? Because there's rumors that at the minute WWE are trying to clean house to make themselves look good to a potential buyer. Do you buy that, or do you think WWE are just kind of like profit hungry at the minute?
Mm, that's a tough one. In my honest opinion, I think because they've re-signed other people it, during these releases, so they signed them to lower contracts than the ones they released. I think it's the latter that they are. It's more of a financial, like trying to get stability back. But there was if the fact that they showed those profits in that whole cutting process, it could be that they're trying to de-inflate the roster because that's what WWE's problem was, overinflated roster. But now we're so used to such a big roster that seeing all these, I mean, 81 people got sacked. That's ridiculous. It should be 80, but obviously Joe got signed back. That's a lot of personnel to get rid of in such a short span, and especially in the time period it was very unethical. You could have gave them a lower wage temporarily and just not use them. Like they got families to look after, their humans at the end of the day. You can't just dispose of people like that. But I don't think they're gonna sell anytime soon. But I don't know where Vince is going with this one because it's really down to him at the end of the day. Like he could do his father's route where he inherited it, so you could pass it on to Triple H and Stephanie or Shane or someone like that, like one of those two. Shane or Stephanie, you could pass it on to one of them two. At the end of the day, the passion is still there for Triple H, but his health is going down, which is probably making it a bit harder to see being passed on to a family member, but sold on to someone else. Just like I don't want. The thing is, once McMahon sells it, WWE is gonna die. So I'd rather him pass it on to a family member because I don't know how you're gonna keep WWE afloat with a new company when this has literally been like a lineage who's run the company.
Yeah.
Like first it was his father, then it was himself. Naturally, you'd think it would go on to Shane, who's the next. But obviously, Shane's got his own business and his own business ventures. But Stephanie's there and she wants it, but it doesn't feel like, I don't know, like at the end of the day, maybe she might know something in terms of being raised under Vince that she doesn't want for her own kids, which that would be the only possible thing I think would stop her from wanting it. Especially since Triple H, as we've seen with NXT, he can deliver. He can give us a good product. We can still get a good product, even though it's still PG era. Like, it's just, I think Vince's time is done, but he's not ready to give it up. And respect to him, at the end of the day, he made his money. He's a billionaire.
Yeah.
He started from somewhere. Yeah, he inherited it from his father, but his father wasn't a billionaire like him.
Yeah,
he wasn't a billionaire.
Wrestling at the time, he's done like so much. Like for instance, I believe he's credited for making the pay-per-view model. He's the one who made it big. Like people didn't take seriously, then he did it, and everyone was like, "Oh, I want a piece of that pie."
Yeah, and what's even like, obviously we didn't get to see it for ourselves much because we were like babies at the time, but he was a commentator while owning the company. Like, he was selling his own product. You won't get that for many people now. Obviously, Triple H would still sell the product because he was a wrestler. His thing, though his moveset was quite limited, I don't care what anyone tells me, Triple H's moveset was limited. He was a great promo worker, and he can sell. That's why he's many times champion, even after the... Let's not go into that bit. I was about to say the steroids, but let's get off that. Even after that, he still kept himself afloat. Like, you have to have some talent. You can't just be an authority figure and not have no talent in the ring. When I mean authority figure, I mean in terms of Triple H himself, because obviously Vince wasn't a wrestler. Vince wasn't a wrestler, but he still got in the ring.
Yeah.
Like, any new owner we get, we would never get that again.
Yeah.
Imagine an owner that fully puts himself out there.
Yeah, no.
Whether it's in the ring, on commentary, doing promos, putting people over while he was younger. You won't get that from the next owner. Like, no disrespect to Billy Corgan, but he's not a wrestler. So even though he could train, but it's not likely he would want to. Or AEW is a great example where this is own, like, we're not expecting Tony Khan to, but most of his like higher ups are wrestlers, so we can still get that with AEW. Like, they are the upper, like, vice president Cody Rhodes, for example, and like, you got the elite. They've also got stakes in it, and they literally were just the champions. I mean, obviously we still got the Young Bucks as the tag champs, unless it's changed since I last watched it.
I believe they're still tag champs. Wait, are
they? I know Kenny lost it to Hangman. So that leaves and Adam Cole is separated. So, and the TNT Championship, that is on
Cody Rhodes.
Who's that on at the moment?
Cody won it.
He won it the other day, didn't he? So this is his best time for him to turn. Back to your original question with Cody a while ago, he needs to turn heel. He needs to turn heel now. Because he's got the title, he's got, like, at the end of the day, that's all the things I complain about. But each time an authority figure won a title too many times, or like didn't put people over, make them heel. Because as a face, it's not gonna work. They're gonna get bored of you. Triple H lasted so long because he's a heel. Jeff Jarrett lasted so long because he was a heel, and obviously he had his outside dramas. That's the reason why he didn't stay around for too long. Let's not go Perk angle.
Let's not go into that.
Perk angle. Let's not go into that. But like, Cody needs to change heel now, if ever. Like, he just put his own title back onto him. If you think about it, that was the title he created, and now he is owning it. Like, this is the perfect time for him to be a heel. This is the perfect time. Obviously, it can be that he's become what he hates, and that's why people don't like him, because he will do all these stunts about Triple H, but he is being Triple H. He broke the what's it called? Was it the stool? Not the stool, the throne. He smashed the throne. I remember. He smashed the throne. And even though he said it wasn't a shot at Triple H, Triple H was like, whatever. It was a shot.
The sledgehammer as well. That was so bait.
Yeah. The King of Kings, like, you just smashed, and you're like, I'm the new king. Cool, you're the new king, but now you're becoming him. And that's where he didn't realize he flopped. Because he got, that initial heat worked, because obviously AEW is trying to show WWE we are a product to be worried about.
Yeah.
But now it's a year since that happened. He doesn't need to have a title like that anymore. There's just certain wrestlers that don't need titles to stay. Like, I don't know, example, WWE, Seth Rollins, he doesn't need the title right now, but he's so entertaining, he doesn't need a title. People are still going to buy his match. People give a chance to Visionary. That's Seth Rollins' theme song, but AEW trumps WWE on theme songs because they're not generic like WWE at this point. You're not just going to get some sound-based song. Like, you have to be really liked to get a song with words in it at this point. So shout out to Bianca Belair, because her song actually, if I remember correctly, does have words in it, considering. So yeah, like, wrestling's in a good place right now. There's just options for everyone. We only talking about WWE and AEW and Impact, but there's NJPW, there's Lucha Underground's gone, but there's AAA, there's all these other ones that are available to us. RIP ROH for now. until it comes back again, hopefully. But NWA doesn't get as much TV time here, but if we find it, that's some quality stuff on there as well.
On YouTube.
It's on YouTube?
Yeah, they put their show on YouTube.
Oh, I need to watch it. Is Nick Aldis still the champion?
I'm not even sure. I just know the show's on YouTube. Like,
well, I might have to check that out after because I like Nick Aldis. I liked him when he was Brutus Magnus.
That is it for today. Thank you so much, Trey. It was
Thank you for the opportunity, cuz, man.
I'm
always here for you, man.
Yeah, it's always fun to do the podcast. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.